Welcome to the Blue Valley North Library Media Center website. We are going to talk about using Noodletools today to help you cite some of your articles, especially when the articles come from a database or from something straight from the internet. So, to find Noodletools, you can start by going to the databases link. You'll find Noodletools right there in the middle, and when you click on it, it should automatically take you into Noodletools. Everybody has an account. You may have to set up your account just by entering your name, but it's very easy. You don't have to make a password or anything. It'll just sync with all the rest of your school stuff. So when you're in Noodletools, before you start finding any articles or anything, you will need to click on New Project and create your project. I'm going to create a project called Sample for Biology. So that's going to be what I called it. Yours could be, your ELA 10 paper or whatever your assignment is that you're working on. And then I'm going to choose for this particular activity, I'm going to choose APA because this would be a science class. And then I'm going to go ahead and use Junior just because it's not like the most basic version of Noodletools and it's not got all the little tiny nuts and bolts of Noodletools. So then I'll click Submit and my project will show up right here. So that's really all I need to do for right now. Then what I'll do is I'll go back to the library website and go back to databases and I'll search for some articles that I need. So I'm just going to search right here for neuroendocrine cancer, which is the kind of cancer that I'll be researching for this pretend paper that I'm working on. And I'll find information here. There's magazines. I'm going to switch over to books, which will have background information. So here's some neuroendocrine tumor information. So if this is an article that I want to use for my project, the first thing I'm going to do is save it to my Google Drive. And then when I cite it, I'm going to click Cite and I'm going to export to Noodletools. So when I click on that, it's going to ask me what project do you want to add this to. This is proper APA format. I want to add it to my biology project, so I'm going to click Import, and it will be there. So now I can go back and find another article and add it. If I'm not finding the articles that I want in this database, I could switch to another one. So I'm going to switch to EBSCO. I'm going to search for whatever kind of tumor that I'm looking for in, let's say, neuroendocrine cancer and prognosis, I'll say, which means like what happens, what kind of chances you have of survival. So I can look through all of this. It's got a lot of cancer that is not what I'm looking for, but here's some. That looks like a pretty specific article. And as I scroll through, maybe I want to use, these all seem really, really specific. So I'm going to choose this one. Okay, so I found this article. If this is an article that I've decided is good, then what I'll do is I'll save it to my Google Drive by clicking the share button, put it in Google so I don't have to come back to the databases to get the article again, and then I'll click on Cite again. I'm using APA and I'm going to click on Export Citation and I'm going to choose Noodletools and it's going to automatically send it. So I just click Sample for Biology. And finally, I'm going to import that into my Noodletools assignment. So now when I go back to my project, it's got all of these citations that I wanted to add. It does have this one twice, which I don't need. So I can delete that by clicking on the three dots. And what I want you to notice is that when you are working on this and it says this reference was exported from the database, there are some mistakes in this. Like for an article with this many authors, we wouldn't put them all in the citation. So that would be something that I'd have to repair. We also don't cite things without a page number like this. So we'd have to make a few changes, but overall, Noodletools did a pretty good job of putting my citations in a good format. When I'm ready to create the actual document that this will go on, I'm going to click on the export button. I can export it to Google Docs. I can export it to Word. One thing that you can do, particularly for a project where you're not actually making a references page or a works cited page, you can preview as a web page, and I want all the sources. And then what I can do is I can copy and paste all of this and put it on like a Canva infographic or something like that. So I could just copy and paste this into a box on Canva. I don't have to make it a full page, but if I want to, I can by using any of these other options. So if you're struggling with Noodletools, make sure you ask us. The last thing that I'm going to show you is if you find an article just by searching online. Now, you will have a little bit of a harder time doing your citation if you find your articles online. Now, I know the Mayo Clinic is a really good source, so I'm going to search on this one. I know that they know what they're talking about. This is written by experts. It's got a lot of background information. If I want to cite this in Noodletools, I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to go back to my project. I'm going to add a new source by clicking right here. I'll choose website. This is a web page, and I'm going to paste the URL here, and you'll notice the more information you put in here, the better your citation is going to be. So they're asking for the date of publication. Well, it doesn't have a date right here, but if I scroll to the very bottom of the website, it says that it was last updated in 2025. So that's the closest date that I can find. So I'm just going to put that here. And then today is the most recent date of access. It doesn't say anything about any contributors on my website. It does say that I need to have a web page or document article title. So that's what I can find usually at the top of my article. So I'm going to copy that. I will paste it here. And then the name of the website, like the more information you add, the better. The name of the website is Mayo Clinic, so I'm going to put that in. And then I'm going to save it, and it's going to make my citation for me right there. So it turned out okay because I put in all that extra information, but if you leave that stuff out, the citation isn't going to look very good. Okay, so that's how we cite articles from databases. I got one from DeGale and one from EBSCO. I also got an article from the internet. And then when I'm ready to share the whole thing, I can either export it as a Google Doc, or I can preview as a web page and copy and paste it into an infographic or some other thing if I'm not turning in a paper. Okay? If you have any questions, let us know. We're happy to help you whenever we can.